Hey guys, real quick before this video gets started, I just wanted to say, this video will not be like my other ones. This is a stream highlight, where basically I just took our reaction to Griffin's Indiana Jones review and then cut out some dead air and whatnot, and I'm uploading it as a video. I polled you guys on this, you all seem to be okay with it, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Don't worry, this isn't gonna cut into normal content or anything, and regular videos will still be the primary thing on the channel. But in cases like this, where we watch something really bad or it's really long, then I might make a stream highlight out of it. By the way, if you want to stop by the streams, they're every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, hope you all enjoy. Man, all right, so obviously Indiana Jones spoilers. And we're going we're gonna watch until the point that I've gotten to, which I've gotten most of the way through the game. But obviously I'm not gonna critique what he says about the end. And plus I don't want spoilers. So, you know. Yeah. Isn't Griffin on crack though? I don't know, man. I do not know. Does crack make you gain weight? Because if so, then
I think it does the opposite.
Well, then then he's definitely not on crack. Anyway, I'm sorry. All right, let's do this. Let's see what Griffin has to say about it. He said good movie, bad game. Which I disagree with.
Having a great day today, just full of
it
so
should be
much
bad movie, bad game. Am I right, guys? I got him.
With
got him.
Got it. He's on heroin. There you go.
Video game review, baby. And today on the chopping block is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience.
I mean, they didn't really, like, thankfully, they didn't go that route. Like, that's the thing. I don't even know why they said we're going to tell it for a modern audience. Like, this was just a classic Indiana Jones tale. Like, I don't know why they tried to face tank the game's reputation like that.
To say that I am mixed on this game is definitely an understatement, because there's things that I actually...
Griffin has never watched the movies. Tenka called him out. Is that true, that he's never watched the movies? Because if so, that would explain a lot.
Genuinely did like. And on the other hand, there are things I absolutely hated. I think what we have here is a video game that really did not need to be a video game, because I would say all of the areas that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle gets right have nothing to do with what makes a great video game, and instead we have another classic example like we've seen 100 times before with the current Sony movie game formula, where gameplay feels like an afterthought at best.
I actually disagree with this, because there's like a lot of cutscenes and stuff, obviously, because, you know, it's supposed to be like the movies, but I like the gameplay a lot. I think it's well done. I do.
And serves basically...
I think especially the puzzles are really well done as well. Like this is not like Sony games. This does not feel anything like Sony games. It feels like I was talking to Delta the other day about it. This feels like I don't think I've ever played a game that feels specifically like this before. It feels like a new type, almost.
It's filler in between cutscenes.
You get to punch Nazis? Exactly.
And that is exactly the camp that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle falls into. This is basically just a copy-paste of the Sony movie game format.
It's really not, though. This plays completely different than any Sony game. I have played I've played Ghost of Tsushima. I've played all the Spider-Man games except 2, which I might play. And then I played God of War 2018, and I'll probably play Ragnarok in the future. This game feels like the only thing that feels like a Sony game is like it has cutscenes, but that's just games. So like
this time with absolutely horrible combat in between cutscenes and a first-person perspective that for some reason switches to third person constantly whenever you're traversing the environment, which makes you wonder why wasn't this game just third person in general.
I mean, I'm honestly starting to feel like we are a minute and 29 seconds in. I'm starting to feel like he didn't even play the game. Because everybody's been saying, oh, it should have been third person. Once you play the game, you realize why it's first person. Like it's just designed that way.
But it was probably to stave off the Uncharted comparisons, but I just want to say I didn't absolutely hate my time with this game. I actually enjoyed a lot of what this game had to offer. I thought Troy Baker actually did a very good job.
Oh yeah, no, Troy Baker was incredible.
Harrison Ford for the most part.
I think he could win the Game Award for like voice actor next year.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Really good job at nailing that feel.
Also, I'm gonna say Egon, the guy who played Egon in Elden Ring, got shafted this year. Can we all agree on that, chat? Can we get a curse you Bale for Egon?
Franchise, for the most part. Obviously, there are some glaring issues that we'll get into a little bit later in this video, but I think they actually crafted a very faithful and, you know, very believable follow-up to the Indiana Jones formula.
I do agree. I agree with him on this.
Than Disney did. The issue with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle that I found myself feeling more and more the longer I played it is I was enjoying the parts of the game where I put down the controller and just watched what was happening on screen. In the back of my mind the entire time, I just could not shake the feeling that this would have been a better movie than a video game.
I mean, it would have been great as a movie as well, don't get me wrong. But I mean, at the same time, like, there's a lot of reasons why that can't happen, especially with, you know, Harrison Ford. Like, what are they gonna CG like Harrison Ford for the entire movie? And then also on top of that, yeah, like, people complain it feels too much like a movie or whatever. Doesn't that mean they did something right? Because that's like the whole point.
I mean, games are essentially, some games are obviously meant to be not like movies at all. But
well, no, but like, not even that. Just like this game specifically, you know, it's canon to the Indiana Jones movies, and like it's supposed to be literally exactly like the movies.
Yeah, it's like a narrative experience, but you get like a movie, but you get to play it. That's
you get to play.
Like the whole goal of it, right? Yeah, so that means that's not really an insult. That means they did something.
Yeah,
well.
Isn't that good?
To me, that seems like it's a compliment.
You think so?
And that is an issue when you're making a video game. When my favorite parts of a game are the cutscenes, and I dread getting into a combat encounter,
Well, let's be real. He just dreads getting into combat because it's not COD. You know, he can't just slide cancel around the place with an M4. That's what he doesn't like about it.
Into that next stealth.
Like, yeah, it's slow and whatnot, but like it's incredibly accurate to what combat is like in the indie movies.
Yeah.
Like that's why it feels the way it does, because this is how combat is in the movies. Like, every time Indy gets into fights and whatnot, it goes on for a while. Like, that's one of the main things. He's not some, like, super martial artist or anything. He's not, like, an expert gunman.
He's a dude.
Yeah, he's just an archaeologist who happens to kill Nazis occasionally.
Segment, dread having to slog through.
What, a video game movie that plays and feels like a movie? Wow, it's been like that since the beginning. Yeah.
Through the next open world exploration area that really only exists.
Not every first person game is COD, Griffin. Well, we shouldn't bring up COD because remember, he like flipped out on Alex for making fun of him over his Stalker 2 reaction. So
serve as padding and really offers nothing by means of meaningful exploration or rewards for doing so.
Also, something tells me the gameplay we're watching is going to be very telling of why he may not have enjoyed it so much.
Can't shake the feeling.
He's just absolute garbage at the game.
That should have just been a movie. And that is the #1 takeaway I have after completing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The parts of this game I hated the most were the actual game.
It's just awful, Chad. It's awful. Rip Tony Todd, indeed. R.I.P. Tony Todd.
And that is definitely an issue walking away from it. But overall, I don't want to say it was a bad experience because, again, I did like certain aspects of it. And I do think...
I mean, it's a bit weird to say it wasn't bad, but then it's terrible. You know?
That's sort of... You gotta pick an opinion.
Remember in his BO6 review when he said he hated the mission and it was a waste of time, and then he said it was pretty good?
That was
like, honestly, if Machine Games wanted to make like an animated Indiana Jones movie in this style with Troy Baker playing Harrison Ford's, you know, Indiana Jones character, I think it actually could do pretty well. Like, I think there is something there. It's just the problem is...
I think the game did well as well, but clearly we don't see eye to eye on that.
And more specific.
No, Aerith 10 out of... That's what it was. There was an Aerith in the game. That's what the problem was. You know what? It wasn't that it wasn't like COD. The Aerith being lacking was the problem. There you go.
Let's go ahead and get into that, because that is by far, I think, the weakest part of this game, hands down.
All right, I want to
Like
hear what
I
he says about the gameplay.
mentioned, the combat of Indiana Jones is by far the weakest point and easily my least favorite part of this game, 100%. The game is about bashing the fash, punching Nazis, whatever the fuck you want to say. The problem is that is never actually fun in this game at any
I mean, I
point.
guess that's just an opinion or whatever, but I excuse me, highly disagree.
Now, the first-person perspective, I think, is fine for the most part. I think third-person definitely would have been the way to go if I had my say in the matter.
I definitely disagree with that. I definitely disagree because, like, the way combat works in this game, I feel like it would have not worked in first person.
Whatever. The first-person
I don't know. I feel like I don't really have a lot to
perspective
add
is
to this
okay
one
when
because
you're
I didn't.
Also,
play this,
okay,
but
well,
I
you
like
can
combat.
add to this, Caden. He
Yeah.
attacked a Nazi outside a Nazi camp, and now he's being overwhelmed, and he's like,
I mean, that
spamming
seems like
punches,
it was
keeps
just a
running
poor
out of
idea.
stamina. Like,
I mean, that just seems like
he
him
is
being an
playing
idiot.
this horribly. He didn't even have a reason to punch the Nazi. Like, what?
I mean, it's a
okay
Nazi. That's a
yourself
good enough reason, I
Yeah,
guess. But
like
also,
that. He's trying to stay undercover.
puzzles or
Yeah.
making your way through a tomb or walking to the next objective. The issues
Although,
don't
given how easily he's folding them, I mean, yeah, we know Griffin. He played it on easy. He probably skipped all the side content, given how fast he got this review out.
Yeah.
So,
really come into
I mean, when did early access come out? He got this out the day the game came out. So yeah, he definitely
play
rushed
until
through it.
you have to engage in combat, because melee combat in this game feels absolutely jank. Enemies take way too many hits and just way too long to actually kill for it to
Try using weapons and like charging your attacks. Also, there's upgrades you can buy in the game that make you do more damage. So you can, like, I'm at the point now I can kill enemies with a single hit, like, from a charged attack. But like, I don't. This is.
to ever be fun, and the stamina system compounds that issue by making it downright miserable to engage in combat in any
It's almost like you're supposed to take it slower. Yeah, it's almost like you're playing Indiana Jones and not Captain Price, you know?
Yeah.
sort of manner. Like, I did not have fun with
It's not a Nazi, it's an Italian fascist. Okay, fine, my mistake. You're right. It's a fascist.
combat.
My
Add
mistake.
fucking
whatever. I
elements
mean, those
to
are
it, 'cause
effectively
this
the
has
same
to
thing
be
anyway.
one of
Who
the
really
important
fucking
They're,
cares?
they're the Italians. My mistake. Whatever.
stamina-based
He attacked the bad guy when he shouldn't have.
systems I
Yeah.
have ever seen in a modern video game, especially a modern AAA video game, and that is definitely saying something. I mean, it just downright makes the combat absolutely fucking miserable to deal with, and in a lot of cases, you're going to be draining your stamina bar multiple times just in order to take down a singular fucking enemy, dude.
Well, you're probably doing it wrong then, because that has not been an issue for me, but go off, King.
You have to wait for that motherfucker.
Wait, who would have guessed? Once again, Griffin is mad at the game because he didn't play it properly.
recharge just
Yeah,
in order
shocker.
to finish
Didn't we
off
see
a
this with
guy
Stalker
that
2
you-
like a few weeks ago?
Yeah, we saw it with Stalker 2. We saw it with BO6.
already punched 6 times, but you just have to wait for this arbitrary stamina meter to refill in order to continue the fight. So it's just, it never
I mean, literally just backing off from the enemies for like 3 seconds gives you back your stamina, so.
feels good, man. And God forbid you ever have to fight multiple enemies at the same time, because as you will see in this clip, it almost never ends well.
Yeah, it's almost like you're one regular ass dude and obviously you're gonna get your ass beat if you try to take on multiple trained soldiers at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like this makes complete sense. Like, you can play the game how you want, you can play aggressive, but like, the game is obviously meant to be played stealthily. Which, you know, is how the movies go a lot of the time. Like, a lot of the... Like, yes, Indy gets into, like, gunfights and whatnot, but it's always, like, ducking behind cover and then, like, quickly shooting one guy. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, he's killing that guy. Alright. He's not doing counterattacks. Like, do you even know how to play the game? You're not doing charged attacks, and you're not doing counterattacks. You could have snuck up on this guy. Hold on.
Never ends
Let me see
well.
the start of the clip again. Actually, okay, no. It's that guy over there, so I'm okay. But like, yeah, he's not doing charged attacks and he's not doing counters. So, I mean, yeah, no wonder you're having trouble. There you go. Okay, he charged it. There you go. Yeah, you're fighting one of the tougher guys, so you got to be more careful. All I'm detecting there is he played that terribly. Maybe don't get spotted if you don't want to get overwhelmed by trained soldiers.
And that's not even...
Also, yeah, exactly. Who said it? Malik? Yeah. Use the whip. The whole reason the whip exists is to disarm enemies and pull them towards you so you can just, like, lock them in a punch cycle. And then you can, like, instantly knock them out.
I mentioned enemies that have this absolutely insane combat armor that makes them almost impossible to take down with the hand-to-hand combat.
That is simply not true. I am 99% sure these guys take as many hits to take down as, like, the bigger soldiers who are just, like, larger, you know? Yeah, again, use the whip. What are you doing? Or charged attacks, like one of the two.
And don't even get me started on how long, drawn out, and unnecessarily fucking spongy the boss fights are in this game. Which obviously, I'm not going to spoil if you want to watch, play this game for yourself. So yeah, just know that every single boss in this game is based on hand-to-hand combat where you have no weapons. I think you can have guns, but they do almost next to no damage whatsoever, so they don't really matter. But 99% of the boss fights in this game
He's acting like it's COD. Major surprise, you know? Griffin wanting a game to be COD.
Pure hand-to-hand combat, and they are absolutely...
Well, it has guns, it must be like COD, right?
Exactly.
Now, granted, you can pick up random items in the environment that do boost your damage output a little bit. The problem is somehow...
Not just a little bit. You can one-shot enemies with them, but go off.
They saw Breath of the Wild's breakable weapon system and said, yo, we gotta one-up that shit on making it even more shitty, and decided to make weapons...
But it's not a problem in this game, though, because there are weapons and like stuff in the environment to use literally everywhere. Like in Breath of the Wild, it's annoying because you constantly have to go through menus and everything. But like in this game, it's fine. Like they did it well. Breakable weapons are normally super annoying, but like they actually managed to make it work. Plus, you know, again, it makes sense. Bashing somebody over the head with a guitar is probably going to break the guitar. You know, I'm not like a breakologist or whatever, but...
No, that just seems like a hollow, thin, wooden structure, yeah.
Also, again, there's an upgrade, which gives your weapons more durability. So,
they don't really do you a lot of good, and with how bad it is to pick up items off the ground because of how jank the mechanic is, it's not really...
What do you... No, it's... Huh? I think you're just bad at like looking at things.
Combat encounters. So a lot of times you might be able to take out one enemy faster than you would have otherwise, but it doesn't
imagine a plunger breaking if you hit someone with it. I mean, if you hit them hard enough, then yeah.
Do you a bit of good in the long term because of how undurable weapons are. Apparently, if you hit a motherfucker...
Wait, did he just say undurable?
Good in the long term because of how undurable weapons are.
Oh my god,
New word invented.
Yeah, just say fragile.
Apparently, if you hit a motherfucker over the head with a lead pipe, the pipe breaks, not their skull. So,
It does if their skull breaks if you do a charged attack or if you sneak up. Does he not realize if you sneak up on an enemy and, like, hit them from behind, it's an insta-kill?
I gotta be honest, I would be very surprised if he did know this.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Interesting from...
Like, if you sneak up on an enemy with most weapons... and hit them from behind, it's an insta-kill. Like,
perspective, to say the least. Now, granted, there are also guns in the game, but they are absolutely horrible. The balancing is so bad that the pistol is more powerful than the assault rifle and the shotgun. The enemies are insane bullet sponges and basically just eat ammo while killing you in 1 to 2 shots.
I mean, I will say that is kind of true. It would be nice if the guns were better. I will say that. How much you want to bet he didn't realize you could use the guns as melee weapons as well? Let's see if he figured it out. Nope. No, of course not. He just runs to get another gun instead. Also, yeah, see, he didn't even know. Instead of meleeing the guy with the gun, he went to grab a baton instead. Like, brother, you can hit people with the weapons. And they have a lot of durability, so... Also, you were kind of just standing there and getting shot by that guy, so, I mean...
Once again...
Griffin's dumbassery gives me hope in my in myself. Yeah. Who's hotter, Clussy or Indy? Definitely Indy. Young Harrison Ford is hotter than me. Absolutely. Okay, well, you just missed him right there.
Yeah.
Can't shoot his penis in the way. Is that what happened there? I wanna see if that's what happened. Nope, he missed right there. Okay, maybe that one was bad. Maybe that one was actually on the game. Okay, that was just you being terrible. Alright, what will Griffin do now?
I don't know about you guys,
Nothing.
but doesn't
Alright,
that combat
look
look absolutely incredible? But on top of that, I wasn't
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't just stand and tank bullets, you know?
When I
Yeah,
said the
that might be a
pistol
great
is
idea
more
if you want
effective
to
than the
live.
shotgun, because here's a clip of me shooting people at point blank range with a shotgun and doing basically no damage.
Alright, let's see it. I think you hit the thing.
Damage.
That was a little weird, but hold on. Alright, yeah. Alright, yeah, I will agree the shotgun should be stronger.
Maybe.
But also, I think Power Boss said it, like, you're not really meant to use the guns, really. As weird as that sounds, like, you know, it's Indiana Jones.
And then when you take all of this stuff that I mentioned and pair that
What's up,
with
Peter?
annoying traversal jank, you get amazing moments like this.
I can't wait to see it. How was that traversal jank? You jumped on a box. Huh? You jumped on a box and got shot. What was jank about that?
Don't you just
Yeah,
love it when
I
the
got it,
environment
yeah.
as the games get you killed? It truly never gets old. But the thing that makes this even more unforgivable, especially in the aspect of the shooting mechanics, is that Machine Games has a history in the first-person shooter genre. These are the people who made the Wolfenstein...
Hey, no. Bagger, he kicked the dog. He kicked the dog.
Especially
L.
the
Griffin.
aspect of the shooting mechanics is that Machine
Look at
Games
this.
has a history
Look at
in
this
the
dick bag.
first-person shooter genre.
Look
These
at
are
him,
the
look at him
people who
attacking
made
the dog.
Wolfenstein
We got an L span for Griffin attacking that dog. Cringe.
Oh,
Reboot series, which has absolutely incredible first-person shooter combat. I don't know what the fuck happened here to make it feel as bad as it does.
Hear me out. You're not a soldier in this game. You know? You're just an archaeologist.
It's so
Yeah.
bad.
Thank
that
you for the L
can't
spam.
even shoot through glass windows to headshot an enemy because
Some nice attention to detail. If you try to shoot a dog, you check. Indy checks his gun instead,
Yeah.
like the
That's
rounds
cool.
and stuff. Yeah, it literally will not let you shoot dogs. Like the only way you
Good.
can deter them is by
Good.
whip cracking.
the
Oh.
game thinks that it's a solid object.
Let me see. All right. This aim, by the way, is impeccable.
And yes, this is a game studio whose past 4 games have all been first-person shooters. What's crazy
Yeah, but they haven't been Indiana Jones, so...
is you can't even stow or reload weapons at all.
To be fair, India's a World War I vet. Is he really?
Is he?
I've seen all the movies. I do not remember them mentioning that at all. I'm gonna look this up. Wait, hold on. He was a veteran of World War I. He was in World War II. Wait, which one is right? Okay, so he did serve in World War One. Okay.
Oh, he did.
Really?
Oh. Does that make sense age-wise though?
Wait, but I'm seeing both. I'm seeing people say he served
But he
in
did.
World War One.
Did he serve in World War Two?
It says it was confirmed in Crystal Skull that he did.
Oh.
He was born just before World War One. The game.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
No, the game. No, it doesn't take place before. The game takes place in 1937. Or oh no, you said World War II. My mistake. Sorry. 1899. So in World War One, hold on, basic math.
He would be like 15.
He would have been when World War One. Yeah, he would have been 15 in World War One.
That's old enough to go to war back in those days.
I guess technically he would have been old enough. Interesting. Well, I guess that's my L. I legitimately had no idea that he was in World War One, but interesting. Cool.
He's just about on the cusp of being able to go to World War One.
You climb a ladder, Indiana Jones drops his weapon. You jump on top of something, he drops his weapon. You dare to heal yourself, he drops his fucking weapon. Imagine being in the middle of a firefight, and all of a sudden you're like, damn, my health is getting low, I better heal myself. So you use your healing item, and in the process, you throw your gun halfway across the room, and you're struggling to find...
Okay, well that's an exaggeration. You don't you drop it at your feet. You don't throw it really far.
The ground and pick it back up so that you can start shooting again, but by the time you do that, your health is already back down to the point it was before you
He enlisted in the Belgian army in World War One. Yo, the Indiana Jones lore goes crazy.
In the first place. So this game, I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know how a first-person shooter studio like Machine Games...
He didn't even... Look at this. He didn't even know he was supposed to pull out the key lock. There's the prompt on the left side of the screen. And he just walks up to the door and then
like
runs away.
Machine Games managed to shit out this absolutely awful combat system, but here we are, man. This is
again, it's movie
you're not
accurate.
You're not a fucking
even if he was in the war, like in the movies, he is not depicted as being like super good at combat or anything.
Well, so yeah, right. He's
like,
an archaeologist.
He outsmarts people, and he like uses the environment to his advantage.
Yeah,
and
that's like my general understanding. Is
like I've seen all the movies. Like he gets kills with guns and whatnot. But, like, most of the time, he'll pick, like, it's like how it works in the game. He picks, like, in Last Crusade, he picked up an MP4 and he killed 2 Nazis and then just dropped it and ran away. Like, this game is pretty damn accurate to how the movies work. In terms of, like, how Indy fights and everything.
Absolutely incredibly bad, and I really can't believe that this actually is the case for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Like, I would have expected a lot more from the studio that brought us the Wolfenstein reboots. Now, in a lot of cases when it comes to combat, stealth is really your only option because of all the things I mentioned before.
Yeah, you know, which, as we've seen so far, you have not really been doing, which is why you're getting your ass kicked.
Instantly to bullets. Enemies take so damn long to kill that there's no feasible way that even with guns you're going to be able to take out all of them at once. So luckily it is Bethesda stealth, and you can kind of just brute force your way through a lot of it. In a lot of instances, I just ran right through groups of enemies, completely ignoring them, and eventually I was able
yeah, but I mean, it's also because, you know, you're on easy mode.
to get to the objective without having to worry about stealthing my way through it or fighting enemies. So you can do that if you're really just pissed off, because the enemy AI is absolutely fucking terrible in this game.
Yeah, it's not the best. Wow, I mean, he was complaining about how long it takes to kill enemies, and then he just insta-killed, like, all of those guys, so... You know... Did this guy call it Bethesda stealth? Yeah, well, because, I mean, technically, you know, Bethesda owns Machine Games. Yeah, I mean, there is some jank, obviously, like this. Gina's AI can be a little funky at times.
Yeah.
Griffin makes no sense. True! To be fair to the AI, Griffin is on easy. I will say I was on normal. The AI can be dumb at times, but yeah, I don't know how much of this is because he's on easy mode. Griffin's inconsistencies with his reviews as always. Hey, it wouldn't be a Griffin review if it wasn't inconsistent.
But yeah, I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. The
I
combat
agree.
in this game feels like a complete afterthought at best, and it's really no wonder they were hesitant to show any extended gameplay prior to...
Well, it is obvious that, like, the puzzles took priority. Which, you know, it's an Indiana Jones game, so...
of this game whatsoever. I mean, just to make it even worse, let me just harp on one little last thing. I mean, bro, this game had such shitty combat that they didn't even make sure that something as simple as throwing a stick of dynamite worked.
I can't wait to see this. Just throwing it. All right, that was a little weird. I'll give him that. That was unless wait, hold on. I just had a thought. What if it landed in water and that diffused the dynamite? What if that's what that was? Is that a thing that can happen? Because if so, that would actually be kind of awesome.
So now that we've really hammered home just how bad the combat is,
All right, he
let's
says
go
the
ahead and
exploration is good, so...
talk about the other
Let's see that.
element of the gameplay experience, and that is the exploration. Now, the exploration mechanics and structure of the game is actually pretty
What the
decent
hell is
for the
he
most
doing
part.
here,
At
chat?
least in the more linear segments of the game, which is
bullshit.
like the tombs and
Kane, are you
areas
seeing
that
this?
you actually make real
Yeah.
story progress in. Those areas are actually really well done for the most
All right,
part.
there he
It's
did
just
it. He got in the window. Let's heck
You know
go.
what? He
open
actually managed it.
exploration zones absolutely suck, man, and they are pure filler.
Hold on,
Those
let me see what
areas
he
are
said.
actually really well done for the most part. It's just the open exploration zones absolutely suck, man, and they are pure filler. And the one that you find at the end of the game, like said in South
Hey, he figured out how to use the key.
Asia,
Oh my God.
it is mind-numbingly boring to navigate because straight out of God of Snore, you have to literally sit in a fucking boat and traverse through rivers in order to get from point A to point B in between missions. And for 3 to 5 minutes,
Does he not know that you can also fast travel? Like, you can unlock fast travel. You can use the signs in the area to fast travel. You know that's a thing, right?
you get to cruise down the river God of War style. Like I said, guys, this is...
I mean, okay, you have to travel the river to get to the destination on the other side of the river. Woe is me, I suppose.
Yeah.
basically a Sony game through and through, but without the, I guess, benefit
I have this game downloading right now. Nice. Hope you enjoy.
of having somewhat mediocre combat. This time around, the combat is absolutely terrible, but I do find it funny that the same people that typically shit on the Sony movie game formula are all of a sudden absolutely loving this shit, dude. But Egypt is the other zone that I really did not like as far as the open exploration zone, and it's really no better. You're constantly running across the massive Giza area instead of riding in your boat, at least, so I guess that's a little bit better, but you're basically not doing anything of real value. Basically,
That's simply not true, though. It's a crucial plot point, but...
one of the examples that I came across in playing through the main campaign.
Make him stop cooking. I'm in pain. I can't. The flames are too high. I can't go in. It's too dangerous.
Which absolutely drove me crazy is you had to run over to the Sphinx, you talk to somebody in the Sphinx, you then had to run all the way across the zone, go talk to somebody else, then you had to run all the way back to the Sphinx. Well, now you talk to that person again, now it's time to leave the Sphinx once again and go to a completely different side of the map, and then you get whatever you needed over there, and then you go back to the Sphinx to finally get into the actual story content.
You know, maybe it wouldn't be quite as bad if he stopped to, like, actually explore around the area a little bit. Like, check out the dig sites, the tents, and whatnot. actually look for items and like side quests and whatnot. You know, maybe it would have been a bit more exciting if you actually did the other stuff that was in the game.
Yeah.
Because the area is not empty. Like, there is stuff to do.
Of that particular...
It's just, you know, if you ignore it, then, yeah, you're probably going to be
Yeah,
bored.
shocker
So-
if you don't do the extra content.
Honestly, pure padding mechanics.
Which is worse, this or Dreamcast Guy's steak? Thankfully, Griffin hasn't actually cooked any food, so yeah. Dreamcast Guy's steak is still the worst.
Through and through. I mean, just to further prove my point, there are literal exploration blocks in this game that force you to explore the open world in order to buy some arbitrary item that's sold at a shop in that particular zone.
Oh no, they want you to explore the world. They don't want you to just beeline the whole game.
Yeah, you know.
That's such a terrible thing. Griffin, I know you wanted to complete the game as fast as possible to just get your review out and farm ad revenue, but like, come on, brother.
Yeah.
You're gonna complain that they want you to explore a world, like an open world? This is your complaint? That you have to do exploring in an Indiana Jones game? Like,
that Indiana Jones needs to progress the story. And in one case, which was in Giza, he needed to go and buy a lighter. Because a lighter is totally something that Indiana Jones would leave home without if he was going to explore ancient ruins and tombs where, I don't know, maybe they don't have electricity?
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
I mean, by the way, I'm just saying, by the time I got to this point in the game, I had already checked out enough side stuff that I just had enough money to buy the lighter immediately. So, plus, I mean, think about it as well. Indiana didn't even know what he was getting himself into. Because the game starts, the museum, or sorry, the college gets robbed. Or like the museum in the college gets robbed. And then you go out, because you figure out what the artifact was that was stolen, and then you head out to the Vatican. Like, I don't think he was expecting to need a lighter in the Vatican, you know?
Yeah.
Because the Vatican does have electricity. So,
What,
I mean...
in 19 whatever?
36.
Yeah, I mean, it's still... Yeah, it had, like, lights and stuff.
I mean, yeah.
Like, light bulbs have been a thing since what?
I mean, yeah, but like it probably didn't have
They
a
did, Caden.
huge
I know what
power
you're saying,
grid.
but they did.
I mean,
No,
but
they
it probably
did.
didn't have like a huge established power
They
grid.
did. They did.
I think it's
But they
unlikely
had it.
that they
No,
had.
they
I mean,
did.
I know the Vatican
in the game, at least, they did.
in the game,
So.
yeah, and I mean, I know Vatican is really small, but even for the like 1930s, that's
It's
a
still
lot of-
part of, like, it can still run off of the
Well,
electricity
the point
from,
is, he wouldn't have known that he would need to go
I mean,
into a deep area. Because,
I mean, I still, yeah.
yeah.
No. I mean, I agree with your point, but also I don't think the Vatican had electricity. Like,
I agree with your point, but also no.
No.
I agree with your point, but I
think
also
about it.
disagree with your point.
Fair enough.
If I'm gonna be crawling around Egyptian tombs, a lighter would come in handy.
Excellent lighter. I bought it from the lighter.
In the footage, he was able to buy it immediately. What's the complaint here?
Yeah, what? Unless this isn't his? This
But
footage,
yeah, each
maybe not?
zone basically has a similar block to go and force people who didn't explore it all to go back and try to find some money scattered throughout the environment, which
Oh, God forbid. You actually have to play the game and not just blow through it.
can actually be kind of hard to find in certain circumstances. So that part was definitely annoying.
I mean, if you're incredibly stupid, then yes.
But for the linear segments of the game, I actually thought they were pretty great, especially the tombs.
Thank
man.
God a compliment. Holy
When you're
crap.
exploring the ancient ruins, solving puzzles, and actually looking for the treasure and the actual stones you're collecting throughout the campaign, I actually thought those moments were pretty good, all things considered. The only section of the game that was linear that I didn't really like is when you go to find Gina's sister in the ship that's stranded in the middle of the mountains.
Nah,
So
what do you... Dude, that mission was awesome. What do you
that
mean?
to me was an awful mission because of the armored enemies and the amount of enemies wielding shotguns that could basically one-shot you. So yeah, that was...
Again, like, use your whip to disarm them. You know?
Not exactly a fun time,
Yeah.
but the rest of the linear segments I actually really enjoyed. Like the one in Southeast Asia towards the end of the game, I thought was really well done, and I genuinely had fun exploring that one at times.
Yeah,
So
that was a good
you can
one.
kind of see a glimmer of something here that, with a little more time, maybe a little more focus.
Maybe you would have found more of those sections if you went off to the side stuff.
Maybe.
Just a suggestion.
Crafting a good and
Maybe if
fun
you explore,
game
you
to
find more
play,
content.
This might have actually turned out a lot better than it actually did, and it almost makes me wish they would have completely skipped the
What is he
combat
even
and
doing
open
right now?
areas of this game entirely, because I genuinely did not enjoy those
lollygagging.
aspects whatsoever. So next up, I do want to talk about the
I would let
traversal
Indy
itself.
whip me, Jesus Christ, but also true.
I'll
Stim,
probably have
you
too much
fuck!
to say here. I think traversing
Somebody's playing Helldivers.
out to jump and you're gonna hit the edge and be able to climb up, but you just don't connect, and then you do the exact same thing the next time and then it works out perfectly fine. So there's definitely a little bit of jank there, and then
Krill issue, I suppose.
there's also examples too where I was trying to
I'm
lower
really
my
excited to get to the story section because he mentioned something about Indy being emasculated or something like that, so I'm very excited to see that.
myself
Okay,
with my
alright,
whip,
bud.
and it just
Okay.
straight up would not let me drop off of it.
It's Indiana Jones. He's the most like masculine dude ever. Like positive masculinity.
Alright, it's
too.
because you're crouching. You're crouching. That's not... Griffin, that's not the button to... Griffin, that's not the button to let go of the whip. I don't know what the bind is on Xbox, but on keyboard and mouse, it's Q to put items away. You have to hit that button. Crouching doesn't get rid of the...
There were also instances
Okay.
where I was trying to get through a doorway and an NPC would come in at the same time, and I was unable to progress.
Through here.
Let me see.
So dark in here.
I mean, yeah, that sucks.
But aside from that and the overall whip swinging mechanic being a little bit janky here and there, I think everything feels good for the most part. Exploring the tombs and solving puzzles
Except for
is
the combat, apparently. That is an affront to God, according to him.
genuinely an enjoyable experience in this game. So that is definitely a highlight for me, and like I said,
Griffin loves Synthetic Man's content. Oh, I know. I
they
know.
removed all the stealth,
You get, like, he is just trying to be another Synthetic Man.
the combat, and the unnecessary open world segments of this game. I think it actually could have been something really unique and special. I just know that, like, they maybe didn't have the balls to make a game without combat, which I guess I kind of get, but I would almost rather have no combat than bad combat, which is kind of crazy for me.
Dude, he's complaining about this game being a movie game. If there was no combat and it was actually just walking the whole time, this would be miserable. Like, is he actually advocating to not have combat in this game?
Apparently.
That would be horrible. Combat is a lot of the gameplay loop, so...
Of all people to be saying, if you know anything about my taste in gaming, but overall, man,
Oh, we do. It's called Call of Duty in Final Fantasy VII.
I think the traversal and exploration aspect of this game is definitely a highlight. So with that shit said, man, I think we've covered all of the gameplay here. So let's go ahead and move on to the main attraction, which is the story.
All right, I'm very interested to hear what he says about this.
So the story for Indiana Jones
Gen Z brain, as a zoomer, I agree.
Circle is obviously the main draw of this game. It's the
So,
reason
can we appreciate this gameplay where he's struggling to take a picture?
Yeah.
buying it. It's the reason you're probably interested in it. And in my opinion, it's the only reason that this game is even remotely worth experiencing, whether you play it or watch it on YouTube. And
Yeah,
that,
the
of
story
course,
is legitimately great in this game, which I'm super happy about. That was my biggest concern, is that the story was going to be bad, but it's actually extremely
is
good.
because, as the narrative designer himself said, this is Indiana Jones made for
a modern gaming audience.
I want to say this game.
But again, I don't know why they said that, because it's just a classic indie tale.
Yeah.
Like, this game doesn't feel quote-unquote modern in, like, the bad ways at all.
Feels like a rehash of the plot of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is kind of ironic because the game itself actually opens up with the intro scene recreated from Raiders of the Lost Ark in video game form with a 1-to-1 recreation.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
But the best way I think I can put this in context of how it fits into the Indiana Jones, I guess, franchise is this feels like the Force Awakens moment of Indiana Jones. If you needed any more proof that Microsoft is the Disney of gaming in this situation, but like the Force Awakens, it took the plot of A New Hope, basically updated it for a modern gaming audience.
For a modern gaming audience.
I cannot wait to hear what is so quote-unquote modern about this. I'm very excited.
just enough changes where it could stand on its own as its own individual title. So that's not to say the story is bad, it's just veering on the side of very predictable because it feels like you've seen this before, and that goes all the way until the very, very end where the main villain is stopped. So I'm not going to give a specific spoiler until we get into this spoiler.
Again, we're gonna stop before he gets to that part because I haven't gotten there yet.
Of the review. So if you don't want to be spoiled on the story, skip past the story portion of this video. The timestamps will be in the description below, so you have been warned. So from here on out, we will be going into spoilers.
All right,
so
you heard him, guys.
Doing a full
if you don't want spoilers,
breakdown,
click off.
I just
I'll
want
see
to say
y'all
that
later.
this is definitely a game that was made for
a modern gaming audience.
So at the start, Indiana
How so,
Jones
though?
is at his like, it would have been actually cool to have an Indiana Jones story set in Imperial Japan because we've never really seen that before. So that could have been something they could have done to really differentiate themselves. But you only
I mean, they could have done that, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I think this was fine.
get a 5-minute glimpse at most. That's the part in the trailers you see where you're shooting people in the back of a plane. That's that section of the game if you're curious. It only lasts about 5 minutes, so don't get your hopes up. But throughout this story, Indiana Jones is unfortunately joined by his Sony-esque companion character.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Just can't
Lock in, boys.
seem to shut her mouth. That, of course, being Gina. And she is one of the worst companion characters I have ever seen in one of these Sony-style movie games because she just cannot shut the fuck up, dude. You know, she's
I will agree. She talks a lot.
know-it-all girl boss who basically...
How is she a girl boss, huh?
Oh my god, bro. Strong in it. Someone who's just not like a complete pushover.
Yep.
Is now a girl boss. Like, someone
yep,
who's like a confident adult.
Yeah.
She knows everything before Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, my only complaint is, yeah, she talks a lot, but, like, besides that, I don't have really any problems with her.
Jones says it, and I really just can't think of anything positive to say about her. I genuinely enjoyed the game.
That says more about
her
you.
story's pretty cool.
Much more until she appeared, and the moments where she is not present on screen are actually genuinely enjoyable. Like the 2 sections of the game I actually really enjoyed were the parts that she was not there, ironically. So take that as you will, but constantly she
I'll
is
just not take it at all.
girl-bossing her way through this. Indiana
Take
Jones
it or
is
leave it.
constantly getting bailed out by her more times than you can count. She saves his life on countless different occasions.
What are you...
It's apparently
huh?
emasculatory.
What? She saves him a couple times, and then he saves her as well. What? Oh my god.
Well, I hope you didn't.
Alright, yeah. She saves him here.
I've got you.
Okay.
And what's funny about this...
But wow, one example. Countless... guys, she saves him countless times. You know? Countless. Let's just show that one example, and then let's ignore all the times Indy saves her.
She's a bumbling idiot herself, because there's a point in the game at the very end where you're confronting the final villain and she points a gun at him but didn't bother to check if it actually had fucking ammo in it.
You will never understand.
I mean, that just sounds like a movie trope. I'm not gonna lie. More than anything.
Perdóname, Gina. Ti ho mentito.
All'inferno, vas!
Je kunt hier reinkommen. Drawn to the memory of your dead sister like a rat to a stinking piece of cheese.
And in addition to that, she also suffers a symptom of the modern Sony game experience, which is Marvel tier writing that exists solely to fill dead air.
Meet me on the other side.
I mean, okay, so she fills dead air.
So she speaks when there's silence, basically.
Don't burn yourself.
I mean, again, I'll say, like, maybe she could have, like, talked a little less. But, like...
Yeah.
What is Marvel tier about her saying, be careful?
I mean, they gotta have it sound at least a little realistic. I don't know. Like, That's what someone who
I feel like I would also be saying these things. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'm a Marvel character.
Yeah, you know what? You're just Marvel to your real life.
Clussy is a girl boss. You're goddamn right. I am. I am the strongest female character in gaming.
This is girl boss reveal.
What is Marvel writing about her saying it's getting hot in the room?
You're not a girl boss. You're a clus boss.
Exactly. That is. I am a clus boss. Exactly.
There.
Thanks for the help.
Hey, there's a dragon up there.
I can see.
And I think what amplifies this problem even...
Indy said even, and Indy acknowledged it right here.
Dragon up there.
I get it.
And I think
some of it can be kind of redundant and like it's maybe it's not like maybe it's like maybe it is filler. I don't fucking.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing the Marvel writing in that.
No.
You know, when I think Marvel writing, I think terrible jokes that are super awkward and go on too long.
Yeah, like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Amplifies this problem even more is the fact that Indiana Jones as a character just feels really deflated in this game. Like none of that
Absolutely disagree.
None of that like snarky, snide remarks where he's fired.
That is simply false.
Yeah,
did this dude play the game?
Back, talking shit.
Probably not the same one that you played.
Whatever you want to say.
Maybe the early access version was different. Maybe the story sucked and they changed it all in one day.
Like in the movies, if a woman or
they changed it the day before release.
Whammon, yeah, exactly, Farva. Whammon.
Shit, he fires back
There's
in
just
time.
Like actually
no
sexist and he's trying to.
But in this
blame
game,
it on
he
the
almost feels emasculated.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, bro!
Oh my god, dude! What do you mean he feels emasculated? He fires back when people talk trash. What are you talking about?
And he reminds me of that.
He's like actually making stuff up.
Where it's like, yes, honey. That's kind of the vibe I got throughout this entire game. And I think the perfect example of this happening is she is the one who has to convince Indiana Jones to see things through. Because at the very final hour, Indiana Jones wants to run away from all of his problems.
All right, I'm going to skip this part because I can't. I haven't seen that. I haven't gotten there.
I can tell you, he never acts that way, especially in the final hour. Like, he's always the one pushing forward, having to convince others that this is necessary, and that the fate of the world to stop the Nazis is a worthwhile endeavor, which, that's what I mean. It's just, Indiana Jones feels uncharacteristically reserved, and almost like a bitch at times, man, for lack of a better term. He, like, literally seems like a little pussy-ass bitch in a lot of different scenarios.
I think he's, like, filtering all the times where he isn't like this out of his head. Honestly,
like
I feel like Griffin has selective memory or something.
Confirmation bias or whatever it's called. Yeah,
look like
selective
a
memory.
Fool who really has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He's constantly having to have things explained to him in his particular area of expertise, and they almost make him.
What do you mean? Indiana, every time he is shown like an ancient artifact or something, he gives like a paragraph explanation about it. He knows everything there is to know about objects in this game. What are you talking? He is the one who does the explaining most of the time in this game.
I'm completely incapable of going it alone.
And if he doesn't do the explaining, it's probably because he didn't know something. Because guess what? Indiana Jones is not omnipotent. Or what? Is that all-knowing? Omnipotent? Whatever, the all-knowing word.
So uncharacteristically Indiana Jones. Like, the prime example is there's a recurring joke throughout the game about his fear of snakes, but it's done in a way that's so comically cringe and over the top that it just makes you hate the writers for what they're doing to a beloved.
Yeah, that's because he has an over-the-top fear of snakes. It's almost like that's a trope in every single movie.
Of character.
Gina.
What is wrong with this?
Gina.
Oh. Stay still.
This is exactly how he acts in the movies. What are you? Oh
I am still.
Don't.
Now, yes, Indiana Jones has always been afraid of snakes.
Yeah, so you acknowledge it.
But in any of the movies, he would have just brushed that off nervously and maybe been like, ugh, like, you know.
No. It simply, hold on. I might get claimed for this, but screw it. I'm going with it. Indiana Jones snake scenes. Let's see, hold on. There was this one particularly. It was from, what's it called? Crystal Skull, I think. There was this one in Crystal Skull. Yeah. I gotta skip ahead so I don't get claimed, but hold on. He's sinking in quicksand, and they toss him a snake to pull him out. Here, let me turn it in. See? He is literally about to die, and he refuses to grab the snake because he's terrified. How is this Oh my god.
Would have been fine, but in this he literally freezes up and is incapable of moving on his own until
Yeah, because he has a snake phobia.
Gina comes in and saves the day. But overall, man, the tone
he's just trying to portray this like Gina's like taking over the story or something. Like, oh my god.
This game is just all over the place. It definitely
So is this review.
Leans more towards the goofy / Marvel-esque writing, which, you know, Indiana Jones
It's almost like Indiana Jones, for the most part, is pretty goofy.
is definitely not a 100% serious franchise, but it does kind of feel out of place. Like there's
it's almost like Indiana Jones is about an archaeologist trying to stop Nazis from using magic to take over the world. That's a little bit goofy.
There's one scene in particular that is basically
Indy is a goofy goober, exactly.
basically completely ripped right out of Looney Tunes.
Which one? Oh yeah, this one. That I remember this. That feels like an Indiana Jones scene to me. I don't see what's so like extra and marvelly about that.
Many men like you.
Hey!
I mean, I will say that part was kind of goofy, but like in a good way. The Voss jump scare. Ken, are you watching?
No, I just.
Oh, take a look at the Voss jump scare.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, what the fuck?
It's goofy, but like in a good. This is all very Indiana Jonesy. This feels like something straight out of the movies. Like maybe a bit extra, but still. He has no knowledge of the franchise. I'm like, is it true that he hasn't watched the movies? Because I swear to God, it feels like it. I mean, do you guys know, literally in Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's a part where like the metal gets superheated, and then I forgot his name, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but the main villain grabs it, and then he like burns the sigil or like the markings on it into his hand, and it's like a funny scene, but then that turns out to be a crucial plot point because they use the burn on his hand to locate the area that they need to go to. Like, me and Delta were laughing our asses off when we saw this scene.
And then when you pair moments like that with story cutscenes having major issues from a technical standpoint, it's kind of hard to take it seriously.
I'd like to see an example. Ah.
You sabotage my activity was perfect. I'm going to kill you all.
Tucked. Of course. So what, Ikra?
Ah,
And
alright. Funny floating fish.
All you current thing followers.
You know what that means? Fish.
Out there. This game is littered with all the typical talking points that we expect from the modern video game landscape.
Such as?
Wissen Sie, Bergmann.
L4D2 coach. Look out, Hunter incoming.
Left 4 Dead coach, look out, Hunter incoming. Exactly.
Sind am einfachsten zu manipulieren.
Wait, how is this a... I saw people on Twitter talking about this. Could somebody explain how this is a modern gaming talking point? The whole reason Voss said this is because one of his, like, cronies or whatever was, like, super desperate to prove himself to Hitler and what, like, to the Nazis. So he was willing to do all this super, like, desperate, risky stuff to, like, prove his allegiance. And so he's saying it's super easy to manipulate somebody who's insecure like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is it because he said insecure male that it becomes modern all of a sudden? Please turn this off. I'm losing brain cells. We're gonna push through. We're gonna push through to the end.
Cringe.
The giant is correct. Because that is what you are inside, Dr. Jones. A pathetic little man.
And no.
Oh no! He called him pathetic. How modern and woke.
It's almost like that's a
pathetic has never been used. Pathetic was
was
never used before the year 2023, as we all know.
Yeah, no, God, villains would never want to like break down the hero's, self-confidence.
Griffin is an insecure male. It's starting to feel like projection at this point, honestly.
I am not kidding when I say
emasculated,
this. I
insecure.
kind of found this hard to believe when I first booted it up. I had to do a double take and look at my recorded footage just to confirm that this game literally has a trigger warning at the beginning of it because, oh my God, dude, it has Nazis in it. Be careful. But yeah, it gives an imagery warning.
I mean, maybe it's a little dumb, but like,
yeah,
I don't really just click past it.
Yeah, honestly,
like this is not that big of a deal. Like, what would have been a problem is if they like went out of their way to censor the game and they like took out all the swastikas and everything. That would have been a problem. Thankfully, it's like, yeah, I mean, we saw Hitler in that one scene. You got like, yeah. No, this game is still just as like real in like with like history as the movies are.
At the beginning of the game, and it says Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a fictional story inspired by historical events and characters. Name, characters, organizations, locations, and events are either...
This just seems like a standard like fine print that's on like any fictional game. That this is based on real events, but it's like what's it called? Like in Rainbow Six Siege, there's like the FBI and all that stuff. But it's like, hey, these aren't like real people or anything, and like any similarities are like coincidence or whatever. Like this seems like a pretty standard warning to me.
Imaginary or depicted in a fictionalized manner, not intended to disrespect any historical or cultural beliefs. The story and contents of this game are not intended to and should not be construed in any way to condone, glorify, or endorse the beliefs, ideologies, events, actions, persons, or behavior of the Nazi and fascist regimes, nor any other regimes, or to trivialize any war
they
crimes,
shouldn't
genocide,
be endorsing
and
that
or
shit.
other
And they're just
crimes.
Again, this seems like a very standard like before you play warning.
Yeah.
What is the problem with this?
Humanity. Now, I don't really know why this was necessary. I thought it was kind of a...
I don't know why it was necessary for you to complain about it, but here we are.
Universally accepted thing that, Nazis equal bad. I don't know why they needed to reinforce that, but dude, this shit's absolutely fucking crazy. I absolutely hate the fucking world we live in nowadays, man. Everybody is so fucking soft, dude. And on top
I will agree with that.
There are other just really cringe moments in the game that...
I will point this out. I saw this comment on like a video, like the anti-woke crowd, like Griffin being one of them, like they call people soft, but then they are so quick to get super offended when like anything
really
bad, when like anything slightly like weird happens or whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Come from Gina of all people, that I just had to pause the game because of just how categorically fucking false and cringe they are, that it made me actually sympathize with the people I'm supposed to hate.
Nazis don't care about history, Dr. Jones. They only care about power.
I mean, this statement literally made me pause the game.
I mean, it's not entirely true. Obviously, they care about history, but at the same time, they're fighting a war against the Nazis. Is that like a totally unreal? They're trying to like rally each other. Is that like such an unrealistic thing for her to say? Like, okay, it's not entirely true, but like they at the time the Nazis were trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
Like, what is the problem here? She's calling the bad guys bad. Oh no.
Just pure cringe, because if you know anything about Nazi Germany, they were hyper autistically obsessed with recreating their vision of historical Germany and reuniting historically German peoples. Like, the entire motivation, you could argue, for Hitler.
Okay, well, guess what? Hindsight is 2020. You know?
Yep.
Like, bro is turning into a hindsight Harry right now. This was back literally like when the war, like before the war even started.
And the Nazis was based on history. So to say that the Nazis don't care about history,
the Nazis were history, yeah. It's not even based on history.
And also, she's talking about they don't care about like preserving these artifacts that they're finding. They're trying to find all like the artifacts and everything to use the Great Circle to like take over the world. That is what she's talking about. Like, they don't care about the history of, like, the stuff that they're stealing. They just want it so they can grab more power using it. That is the point.
And there's just plenty of moments like
that.
Obviously,
they care about their own history
throughout the campaign that are scattered in there that just take you completely out of the experience. The original Indiana Jones movies did not have to make up shit like that. They simply presented it how it was, and everybody walked away thinking the Nazis were the bad guys. They didn't have to do this over-the-top fucking shaming and bullshitting in order to try and convince you that you're actually the good guys in this situation. And I think it's perfectly summed up with this absolutely motivational and moving speech from Gina.
All right,
for God's sake, who cares? You are both stuck in the past, and right now there is a great evil spreading throughout the world, and we can choose to fight against it or each other. Nazis don't care about history, Dr. Jones.
Am I the only one who doesn't see a problem with that? It was like a... Also, I love that he cut out the part right after where Indy, like, knocks the dude out, and he was like, good distraction. Like, that whole speech was played off as, like, a joke. But yeah, no, he just cut that out.
Jones, they only care about power.
Also, something funny I found is that it's no coincidence that the only likable and attractive female character in this game who is a former student of Indiana Jones who has blonde hair and blue eyes.
Oh my god, dude. We're getting into like Alex Jones levels of like conspiracy. It's no coincidence that this exact thing happened right here, right now.
Of course.
That turned the frickin' frogs gay.
To be a Nazi conspirator.
This is the idol.
Oh, so because you think this is the only attractive character, and she's a Nazi, what is your point?
Yeah.
Like, what? Gina's attractive too? What? Huh? Like, it's not like every other woman in this game is, like, super... what? Gina's attractive. What? I forgot her name. But, like, the chick with the eye patch in Southern Asia. Like she's attractive. Like, what? It's not like they made the characters hideous or anything.
I first found it described in a barely readable passage in a scroll found in Angkor Wat.
I guess because she's blonde. That's bad? Because she's on team not... Huh?
Warriors who found the idol believed it was cursed, and so they buried it along with the demon. I didn't know if it was real, or just a legend.
It came from a woman, so it's woke according to Griffin. That's what it feels like.
Savor the feeling, kid. It was your thorough research that led us to it.
Yeah, he was being sarcastic right there.
Professor. We should leave.
You know, they made her character from Sweden, not Germany, to show that it wasn't just only the Germans after all, man. But it is kind of funny because she is actually very likable. She has a great energy about her.
Is she, though? She's likable for about 5 minutes until she betrays your ass and gets her arm cut off.
Indiana Jones's personality perfectly, and not to mention, she was actually hot. And what's sad is the plot could actually have been better if they went with her as the primary companion character instead of Gina. Like, they could have used a similar pretense for her meeting up with Indiana Jones. They both were tracking down the same thing. They team up, and given their past history as him being her teacher and her being a student, you know, that could have actually been a really...
So let me get this straight. His complaint is that the side that one of the antagonist females is hotter to him than your sidekick female. This is his complaint. What is happening?
Cool dynamic, and it could have actually led to a more interesting story where eventually it's revealed that...
More interesting story? Why? Because she's hotter? Like, what?
Fuck, yeah.
Does anybody else think this comes across as, like, incredibly shallow?
Like, has been working with the Nazis the whole time, and she was planted there because of her connection with Indiana Jones to betray him and find out what he knows about the Great Circle in order to help them track down the stones faster. But instead, we got girl boss Gina, who wanted to track down...
How is she a girl boss? Oh, dude, oh my god.
300...
This is awful.
This man just says words.
I'm just gonna leave that there. This is awful.
IQ sister who literally is never even on screen once other than as a corpse. So yeah, there you go. But overall, man, I think
literally the Last Crusade flaw. Exactly, Power Boss. This literally happened in the Last Crusade.
Nika would have actually been a much better companion character.
Make a video about... I don't know if I can. There's a bunch of other stuff I gotta talk about, and honestly, this might take too long. I'll think about it.
And it kind of gives you a glimpse at what could have been, and then you have to go right back to the old hag once again, which, you know...
Chat, type 1 if I should make a video about this.
Brings a tear to my eye, because for all things, man, Anika was definitely hot. Unfortunately, though, she was only in the game for about 30 minutes and meets an untimely end when a door falls and brushes her arm, which causes her to leave behind the idol that she betrayed Indiana Jones for earlier to get for the Nazis.
Yep.
You drop the idol and reach back to grab it.
Oh god, that's a lot of ones. Oh no.
Should bring this back to Pyland. You let your ambitions get the better of you.
I will say, even with one arm, she probably is still 10 times better than Gina. All in, though...
Again, does this just come across as, like, weird to anybody else? I'm just, like, creeped out more than anything now.
For the most part, is pretty predictable. Yeah. You've definitely seen this before if you've seen the other Indiana Jones films.
Wow, an Indiana Jones film is predictable? You mean the bad guy's gonna lose and Indiana Jones gonna find whatever he's looking for and win?
It is very reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark, with kind of like that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull element of trekking around the globe to find the various different stones in order to create the Great Circle, which, you know, is pretty similar to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but the way the villain dies is the exact same way as in Raiders of the Lost Ark, essentially, so you will definitely be feeling like you're treading through familiar water throughout the story, but they do enough to keep it interesting.
Doo-doo.
To the point where you are
genuinely
am I right, boys? To see how it does
him.
Play out by the end to its credit. But I
wonder if this Griffin guy's actually watched an Indiana Jones. So, dude, that's what I'm starting to wonder if he asked ChatGPT for a summary of the whole story. And then just, like, is going off of that.
I think it's funny, speaking of credits, in typical Bethesda fashion, they somehow managed to find a way to send you off in true Bethesda style and somehow managed to break the end credits of the game. But all bullshit aside...
Okay, it flickered twice.
Wow, that was terrible. Yeah, that was...
Damn, that... Game... Unplayable. Refund now. Everybody sell your Xboxes. Unplayable. The credits flickered twice.
I did think the story did check enough boxes to give you that authentic Indiana Jones experience.
What I missed, just got off of work. You missed the worst Indiana Jones review I've ever seen.
And I do think...
Granted, this is the only one I've seen, so I guess it's technically the best as well, but...
The story was definitely...
I'm gonna go watch a good one after this so I can just claim that it's the worst one.
The highlight of this game. It was just dragged down by some bad characters and overall bad Marvel-esque writing. So
again, I'm failing to see the Marvel writing at all in this
game.
Yeah,
no, Marvel writing...
Like, I don't think this guy knows what Marvel writing is.
once Marvel writing became worse, like post Endgame, the reason it was bad was because the time, like the humor timing was all off. The jokes were just
the main like when
unfunny.
people say Marvel writing, they're talking about the humor mainly.
Yeah, like the main. I mean, obviously, like the stories aren't the strongest, but that's superhero movies.
That just happened sort of writing. That's what people talk about.
Yeah, like that is not a thing in this game. Like
it's not
aside
like from what I've heard, like Indiana Jones is full of like actual witty humor.
Yeah,
the timing is good, but there also
like,
isn't a ton of it. Like they spread it out pretty well.
Yeah, they
the
do.
Marvel writing, which is
so that's the thing, right? Like the old Marvel writing phases, like 1 through 3, had like good humor. It was well timed. It was like spaced out, so it wasn't like a joke every 10 minutes or whatever, like a fucking quota they're trying to check off. Like, so that's probably more similar to what this game is doing, where it's not like, spamming jokes to try and be like, haha, see, we're funny, we're relatable, whatever, like this game.
There's plenty of jokes and like there's even visual gags and stuff, but like they're not spamming it or anything. Like, this is nowhere near Marvel writing. Man, you're still streaming. Surprised I caught this. Yep, we're still going. We're almost done. But
man, I did actually. I'm definitely almost enjoy the moments of this game. I was not playing, so AKA the story. I think the story was actually pretty good, and I think it's
except for when woman was on screen because women bad.
Experiencing whether you want to watch it or play it for yourself. But yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this review up, man. This is going on more than long
please
enough at this point. So I think I can best sum up Indiana Jones and the Great Circle as a good experience, but a terrible video game. The best parts of this game, which for me is very hard to say, are the cutscenes and the non-combat segments that take place in
I mean, that's just his opinion, but like his reasons for that were just like, we saw the footage. He was just playing the game horribly.
Linear tombs.
Which,
and what
who
you're
would have thought?
walking away from after playing this game is you're going to wish that this was a movie that you could have just watched instead.
No, I'm glad I got to play this.
Instead of having to slog through the slop combat and stealth segments that really add absolutely nothing to the experience overall other than frustration. So I think that is the biggest flaw with
I mean, if you play it wrong, then yeah.
I feel like my criticisms of this, not just like his review, but of this guy are basically the same as for like his BO6 review that we watched a while back.
At least he's consistent, I guess.
He has a lot of like phrases that he uses that he doesn't actually seem to know what they mean.
That's exactly. I completely agree.
They feel good and like smart to say, but he doesn't. They don't fit the context. It's just he likes to say them because he heard someone
mean anything.
Yeah,
or it like just doesn't make sense.
Like it doesn't make sense. Like it sounds like a cool or it sounds like a smart, succinct, thing to say, but it just doesn't fit the context. And of course, it's not used correctly because this fucking guy is saying it.
Did he even beat FF7 Rebirth? I mean, of course he did. It's like his favorite game of all time.
Been a 2 to 3 hour long movie story and used awful gameplay mechanics to stretch it out to 12 hours, and that's what it feels like. I feel like this game would have actually been a lot better.
I mean, if you suck dick and balls at the game, then it'll stretch out longer. Who's surprised by this?
And
I need to see. He hasn't shown it. I guarantee he didn't upgrade like any abilities or anything. That would have made combat much easier. Guarantee it.
Together. I think that
it would be like if I played Elden Ring and it was like my first, because it was my first Souls-like. So if I played Elden Ring, and just didn't upgrade any equipment, fucking took every possible boss fight, and like just bitched
you just looked up a guide on YouTube and instantly speed ran to each main boss and skipped everything else.
It would take me goddamn forever, if I didn't upgrade equipment and I just refused to learn patterns and stuff, that would take me forever. So unsurprisingly, if you don't learn how to play the game, it takes you longer to play it.
Yeah.
Much better.
I forgot I have to play Elden Ring now because the new one's coming out.
Yes, sir.
That's okay. I'm not mad about that.
Have been a much
you shouldn't, dude. You're gonna be so happy when you do.
I'm good. I'm gonna love it.
You should be very mad. It's a terrible game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow. Okay.
You should be very mad. It's one of the worst games I've ever played.
It's a running joke, but not actually a joke.
No, it's not a joke. I hate this game.
Despite having like 200 plus hours in the game, Caden.
Yeah, no, I put 223.1 hours in because of how much I hate it.
Yeah, he had to hate as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, I had to put a bunch of time into it before I knew I would be able to hate it properly.
And that honestly is the most respectable way to hate something. Like I trust somebody. I would trust somebody who hates a game after putting in 100 hours than somebody who loves the game after putting in 1 hour.
So right.
experience.
Yeah, I
And
just
at
saw
the
that
same
trailer
time,
and I
the
was
The
like,
best time I've ever had in Elden Ring was when I was sitting at the main menu with the music
Yeah.
off.
With the music off. You,
Just staring.
you play Elden Ring
Yeah.
like how Griffin played Doom Eternal, just on mute
Yeah,
the whole
just-
time.
Just
really
mute
isn't anything
the
special.
title
It's
music
pretty
and just
much
By
stare
the
at
way,
titles.
that should be a cardinal sin, playing Doom Eternal on mute.
cycle
Dude, that
themes
one
from the
absolutely.
Yeah.
original Indiana Jones.
Doom Eternal
movies
is a
from George
soundtrack with a game attached to it.
Yeah, Doom Eternal is a $40 soundtrack that comes with a free game.
Lucas, which I think is fine.
Till that point, but you just can't fudge your way yet as much through this one.
Wait, he played Doom Eternal without the soundtrack on? Not just the soundtrack, he played the whole game on mute the whole time. Like, not even sound effects or anything.
Say convincing interpretation of Harrison Ford throughout this game, so he actually did a very good job. I think the game, like I mentioned, really shines in those non-combat linear tombs where you're solving puzzles and exploring and taking
the Indiana Jones
scenery.
game is good with puzzles.
Game
Exactly.
Really does what it's trying to set out to do, and I wish it was.
It's almost
more
like that's
of
the
that,
entire
less of the
fucking
open world
thing about
zones,
Indiana
less of the
Jones is
slop
that it's
stealth and melee combat and the awful gunplay as well. But overall, man, I didn't hate this. I really didn't.
You could have fooled me.
Hate it.
Spent
And it might
46
sound like I'm
minutes
being
talking about how
overly
much you fucking despise it.
Yeah.
negative, but it's just so much easier to pinpoint the things that you don't like when you're talking about a game, and I think that's
very true.
Important for reviews.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. That doesn't really give you an idea of why you love it. So,
well, you didn't really.
I
give
mean,
me
you
an
also
idea
don't give
why
any good
you didn't
reasons.
like it.
Yeah,
so.
you didn't get. You gave reasons. They just did. Well, they were just wrong.
Your reasons for not liking it were just stupid. So
to bring up the negatives, but I did not hate this game. I absolutely did not hate it.
Again, you could have fooled me.
More neutral on it. I hated the combat and the gameplay experience, but I thought the story and the overall exploration in those.
I mean, really, you thought the story was good? Because last I checked, you were complaining that the main female character wasn't hot enough. So,
well, you know,
was actually really good. Like it gives you a.
It was pretty bad, but I didn't. That mission was pretty bad, but I didn't hate it.
Yep, this is the same guy. So
if
it was actually
I were
pretty
to give
good.
This game a rating, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10, which for me is above average. I think this is definitely through and through.
This guy just hates imps.
He spent that whole time complaining and then said it was above average. That's kind of
Bro
insane.
gave it a 6 out of
Sony
10.
Movie game with terrible gameplay and a first-person perspective. I'm not really a fan of when Sony makes this style of game, and I'm not really a fan of when Indiana Jones is adapted into this style of game, despite my love for the Indiana Jones franchise. But overall, again,
I'm again. Far be it for me to question you as an Indiana Jones fan, but.
Did not hate this. I think it does have some redeeming qualities. Honestly, I just would have rather watched a playthrough on YouTube instead of playing it for myself, and I think that speaks volumes. So I cannot rate the game higher than that. I do think it succeeds at creating a faithful and immersive Indiana Jones experience that's just weighted down by awful writing at times and some of the worst first-person combat.
Wait, so the story was great, but it had awful I've
ever seen in a
Again,
video game.
he doesn't
But
really.
anyway,
He's just saying a bunch of buzzwords to sound
so
smart.
that is going to do it for this review of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. If you did make it to the end of this video, you are a real one. Make sure to smash that.
Well, hey, at least I can walk away from this knowing I'm a real one.
You know what? That makes it all worth it.
Comment section below
it's all worth it, chat. I am a real chat. You all are real ones as well. Even if you just hopped in now, you technically got to the end of the video. We're all real ones. Yippee!
He didn't say stay to the end of the video. He said got to the end of the video.
Yeah, there you go.
So you didn't have to watch the whole
think?
thing.
Are you waiting for
the best part of this review? Yep, the outro is the best part.
PS5. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm always interested to hear y'all's take on whatever game it is we're talking about today. But as always, I do want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to check out this video and for all the recent support.
No problem,
on the channel.
man.
You guys are the fucking best, and I really do appreciate it. So with that,
I rate
said,
your
I
review
will catch you guys.
0 out of 10 for hypocrisy and garbage. I literally don't care about your gaming take. I don't care for Indiana Jones personally, and I'm not going to play this game. But your take is just stupid and self-contradictory.
You're dumb. I rate your review dumb and bad out of 10.
Nothing will ever beat that one lady we watched who said Bloodborne doesn't belong in 60 FPS.
Yeah, no, that might be.
That was actually like the stupidest review.
Dude, I saw
watched.
your comment on my video the day after. You were still mad about
I was
it.
still, that shit still pissed me off. I was like, what the fuck?
It was so stupid.
One of the stupidest reviews, one of the stupidest like videos I've ever watched.